this trailer is for a new iteration or a new, well, sort of maybe a new game. We kind of talked about that a little bit. An expansion pack / sequel to Dishonored 2 called Dishonored Death of the Outsider. So, Joey, go ahead and hit play and let's get this going.
Bop.
I knew you'd seek me out one day. I didn't think it would be like this.
Dowd, the knife of Dunwall. I could never forget the man who pulled me up from nothing. Dowd taught me more than just killing.
You've always been good at uncovering secrets.
Ooh, Michael Madsen.
One last job.
Who's the mark?
The one responsible for it all. The cults, the black magic.
Robin Lord Taylor. I wonder who
Kill
that
the
is.
outsider.
Oh, Marilyn Manson.
Oh, we're playing as that guy? Okay. Or we're...
No, you're killing that guy.
Oh.
He's the mark.
Oh, we're trying to go after him. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember him from the second one.
Yeah.
You're playing as this Billy...
You know I'm coming for you.
Yeah, Billy Lurk. Rosario Dawson. That's a big name right there.
That's Bethesda money, baby. Bethesda money.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that was the trailer for Dishonored, Death of the Outsider.
It was a pretty cool trailer.
Yeah, a little bit of information about this game in case you're unaware. This is not really a full Dishonored release game.
Right.
If that makes any sense. They're
Kind of
calling
like a
it
little story.
right. They're calling it a standalone expansion pack. So the way that we kind of thought about it was when Red Dead Redemption did the zombie expansion, where it came out as a separate, solid, real game box,
standalone.
A standalone story or a game, but set within a game. And this is an expansion pack, but it's also a sequel to Dishonored 2. So it's set a couple months after the end of Dishonored 2, and this Billy Lurk, this assassin that you see here, reunites with her mentor. We saw that in the trailer, the older assassin guy. And together they're trying to take down the Outsider, which the Outsider was kind of a weird character that showed up every once in a while in the second one just to kind of explain a couple things to you about the world and
Yeah, he seems like a god, like he's like Loki or some shit.
almost he kind of gave up that vibe for sure.
He just like has free reign of that realm that he's in. He just like
Yeah.
teleports around and does what he wants.
Yeah, and I think you get your powers from the Outsider guy, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's strange. He's a very strange character that shows up, but you don't really have any conclusion with him in the second game. You kind of destroy the main boss, and then that's kind of it. I feel like in terms of the story. So this is kind of a nice expansion to see that they may wrap up the Outsider as a character.
Yeah, this might be like a director's cut of what they maybe wanted to put into Dishonored 2, but maybe didn't have time for or couldn't fit into the experience or something like that.
Yeah, it's possible. I would say though that I'm kind of over Dishonored. I didn't.
Okay.
I liked the first one enough. I went back and played it last year on the PS3, and I thought the first one was a really cool game. Played the second one last year after playing the first one, and thought this is just more of the same, and it's not doing anything new, and the graphics look the same, and they shouldn't. Bethesda, please update your fucking graphics engine, please. Every single game that comes out looks 10 times better than yours games do. And yeah, I mean, I just don't really care anymore. I'll
That's
play
fair.
it because the gameplay is nice. But the story and the gray, everything's gray.
It's very
It's bleak.
yeah, very washed palette in those
Yeah.
games.
It's just kind
The
of
I have a question for you about the way this feels as a release. Do you well, I mean, it's hard to like imagine, but do you think that this is more akin to your example of Red Dead and its Undead expansion, or do you think it's possible that Arcane Studios could be moving toward like an episodic release style where they'll be releasing smaller experiences set within their world at a cheaper cost to put those out more quickly than like blockbuster titles take to make years. And even if Bethesda's publishing it, Arcane Studios probably isn't massive as a development studio.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just a thought I had, because I think that I think there's a place in this current market for episodic game releases that no one is doing. Valve tried to do it a long time ago and disappointed the masses by never finishing Episode 3. But
aside
yeah,
from Telltale and the most recent, I think, AAA title to do it was the Hitman game from last year. Did episodic all year, and then they did a full
Right.
release
did
right
that.
after the year was over.
that was really successful, from what I understand. People were staying with it.
I think it was the type of game that could really benefit from that, because it's the type of game in which you can do the same mission 5 different times and it feels different, each time you
Sure.
do it.
Sure.
Where I think Telltale kind of suffers is that their episodic games are literally it's one story. You're not going to play that episode again. It's very much like a TV show where
Right.
you watch it once, or you play through it once, the experience, and then you're just waiting for the next one. Where
Yeah.
Hitman, you could play that game literally until the next game came out, so you could fill that time. And I think it would be nice if Final Fantasy VII did it in that way, where they gave you like 20 hours of gameplay in the first episode, and then hit you again with the second episode, 20 hours of gameplay, because that game is just so freaking massive.
Why do you think they should do it for Final Fantasy and not give you the full release of 7? Why did you bring that up? as
I
an
only say
example?
that because they have already said that they're going to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that they're going to release that game episodically.
Interesting.
Which, yeah, I think will be weird.
Yeah, it sounds like a mistake.
Yeah. And I think they're trying to do it just to get content out quickly.
I mean, sure.
But it's one of those things where they've already, I think, shot themselves in the foot when it comes to Kingdom Hearts 3, because people have been waiting for that for fucking ever, and they're finally going to get it, and they're probably going to suffer the consequences of the hype for so many years. Where
Well, I don't think that's Square Enix's fault or whatever. I think that's the fans' fault.
Yeah. I
being like-
agree. I think the hype and then being disappointed or whatever is definitely probably more fans than Square, but
I think it's only Square's fault if they release a bad game, right? If it happens to be worse than the previous 2 Kingdom Hearts games, the previous main
Right.
numeric
Main
Kingdom
series,
Hearts games,
yeah.
Then I think that they deserve the blame there. But I think that if it's fine or better, the fans shouldn't,
right. Give them
get
hell.
yourself hyped up for no reason. Maybe.
So this is an interesting one. It's going to be $29.99 when it comes out, so it's going to be half price of a regular game, which makes you feel like it's probably going to be short. Which is weird because Dishonored games are already short. If you mainline the storyline, you can beat Dishonored 1 and 2 in 6 to 8 hours. I feel like they're not long games.
It could also be a thing where they're coming from the development of Dishonored 2, and since it takes place in the same area or city, it sounded like Dunkirk, is that what it's called, or
Dunwall.
Dunwall.
Yeah.
Takes place in the same city. That means that I'm sure they have a bucket load of assets that they can pull from that
Yeah.
were previously made. So maybe it won't be crazy short, but it'll definitely be shorter.
Yeah, it kind of seems to be a bit of a trend this year. You got this game coming out, which is kind of an expansion or an offshoot of the Dishonored series. You have the new Uncharted game coming out, which is an offshoot of the regular Uncharted games.
Oh, is that the one with the female cast?
Yeah, the side characters from the original series are becoming main characters in their own game.
Is that going to be a shorter game, or is that a full release?
I'm pretty sure it's a full release.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's see. It's $39.99, so possibly not a full release.
Possibly not. Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
sad.
it seems like that is maybe something we might see more. Where if people want to see more of a game in a particular universe and they already have the graphics engine for it, they could say, okay, you team of so and so people, people want to see some more Dishonored, so make a 5-hour expansion to the Dishonored series, and we'll put it out for $20 to $30 to $40, and so that people can still get a taste of their favorite series.
Right.
So it's interesting because I don't think it's necessarily bad, because if they're not going to charge full price for a shorter version of a game and you get more of a series that you love, I don't necessarily not like it, but
Yeah.
it is a little yeah, you start to question a little bit, like, why don't you have your full team working on a new IP, or why don't you have your full team,
Right.
The whole allocation of resources argument. But if everything's already put together, it probably doesn't take that many people to, put together a new story.
Yeah, I think I might be in the minority here, but I think that when a series gets to be coming to its around its third release, coming to be a trilogy, I think it's dying already at that point for me. Generally speaking, they don't do as well as their previous versions, because by the time you get to the third edition in the series, the majority of the people you have there are your fans now. They're not people who are like, oh, what is this? They're
Right.
the people who are like, oh, 3's out, I got to play 1 and 2 now. I'm out. I'm not that interested in it, maybe. So I think I'm a bigger fan of sequels being delineated or being degraded to the $30 release size of game when it gets to get on in age, because then your big fans are still there. You're not investing resources to maybe lose money in the long run. Comparatively, I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of sequels in general, unless they're super solid. But that's not often the case. I would argue. So yeah, I like the trend of the smaller releases being placeholders for that need that fans seem to have for more content in those worlds and stuff like that. So I think I'm a big fan of the small versions for sure.
Yeah, I think there's a select, maybe handful of games of which you could say like the second one was significantly better than the first one.
Yeah.
I think if you really sat down and thought about it, there probably is quite a few, but not a lot that jump to mind.
And so the only one that comes to my mind is Halo 2.
Halo 2, I would say Uncharted 2 is better than the first one.
But I also haven't played a lot
Yeah.
of sequels. So.
I think there's quite a few 2. But like you said, once you get started at 3 and then onward.
Once you get on in age, it starts to get a little bit shaky there as far as how can you continue to provide your player base with new experiences that weren't in the previous ones when you've iterated on this concept already 3 times or 2 times or whatever it is. It's like either you change the kind of game that it is, which Halo is currently going through. Their fourth and on are now different games at a fundamental level to make it feel like it's a new version of that experience, and that loses for me, because I play Halo, originally because I enjoyed the experience, and when you change that to fit a different model, it's no longer going to feel like Halo to those hardcore players enough, I think, to really, I don't know. They also just did a bad job with Halo 4, so.
Yeah. Well, it just seems like if you liked Dishonored and you want more, you should play this.
Absolutely.
It's definitely not a place where I think someone should jump into it.
Yeah, if you like a series or a development company, obviously just jump on that next thing. Support those people. Support that series. But if it's not something you feel like you have room for anymore, like you were kind of mentioning, you're a little bit over the series, then you're not missing a lot. It's $30 experience. So.
But I do gotta say, as much as I like Bethesda's games, work on a new graphics engine, please. They do not look good anymore. Like Fallout 4 did not look good. Dishonored 2 did not look good. Like,
well, I don't know how much of it is Bethesda's fault for Dishonored.
well,
Arcane
yeah.
Studios is the developer, so their decision for their graphical input. I'm sure they could have had received help from Bethesda, provided they, whatever the connection is,
Right.
or the relationship of developer and publisher in that particular instance. But yeah, even like you said, Halo or Fallout 4 wasn't like a huge leap from the previous titles.
No.
But it's also never been, at least it hasn't seemed like that's ever been their focus. So I don't know.
I feel like when Skyrim came out, everyone was like, "Holy shit, this game is huge and it looks good."
That game didn't look good when it launched. It just had a pretty skybox, which all of their games have, and the sky was like all anyone would ever talk about when they talked about how gorgeous it was to like just be out and look up and see like the giant like 3-planet sky and stars and shit and the galaxies. I'm like, yeah, that looks cool, but I don't think that makes it exclusively a beautiful game. But
Well, because I got it on the PlayStation 3, I would look up and see mammoths falling from the sky onto my head. So.
Oh, that fucking game, dude.
Oh, that game was so buggy at launch.
It's still buggy.
All right, guys. Well, that was our trailer discussion for Dishonored, Death of the Outsider. It seems like more Dishonored. So if you like Dishonored, if you like the series and you want more, check out this game. Only $29.99. So there you go. A little love for you, the fans, and a little more of the content that you're looking for. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming out soon, I believe.
Yeah, I didn't even catch if it gave me a date. I wasn't really paying attention.
Let's see here. Before we go, it is September 15th, so just next month.
That's not bad.
No. So there you go, guys. Yeah, so we'll be back in just a little bit, and we are going to be playing a game with Joey and Jeanette, and we're going to see if Joey can hang on to his lead or if he will lose it and be in a tie with Jeanette. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.